Okay, everyone, this is Rob DeBoer. Thanks for calling into what we'll call the Keto OS Fact and Fiction call. I think this is a much-needed call, not because any messages are being distorted, but I just want everyone to have a clear understanding. This is such an incredible product that we don't want to understate, but we also don't want to wrongly state exactly what it does, how it works, et cetera, et cetera. For starters, this is a product that has been well received in the market, obviously. It's based on a patent-pending formula that is owned by the University of South Florida, grant-funded. You can even find that listed on the patent by the U.S. government, Office of the Navy. So this is real research, real funding from your government, and I think that makes for a very special moment in time, I guess. Thinking back, I want you to understand there is going to be resistance because what people don't know, they don't know, but it reminds me back to the early 90s, and if you can imagine, there was a product much like Keto OS that came out. This was a product that was naturally produced in your body, as are ketones. This was a product that was found in everyday food, as are exogenous ketones. And this is a product that last year generated over $2.7 billion in sales just in the United States. That's including product extensions, et cetera, et cetera. This product was controversial. I think Keto OS and exogenous ketones will be met with some resistance because it is controversial. Again, because what people don't know, they don't know. So that product, if you haven't figured it out, back in the early 90s, was called creatine monohydrate. And it is, again, generated $2.7 billion just last year. Actually, I think that was a 2012 figure just in the U.S. So to put that into perspective, this is a very similar product, although it is a far-reaching product, whereas creatine was not. It was more geared towards sports performance. It certainly wasn't studied for the last century. It certainly wasn't prescribed to treat neurodegenerative disease. It didn't affect biomarkers, blood sugars, cholesterol levels, etc., the way this product does. So to envision the upside, I think is, it's just sky's the limit. And I think that's why it's so important. So let's begin with what is ketosis in 30 minutes versus nutritional ketosis in several days. The first thing we need to understand is ketones are a fuel source to the human body. And there's two. Glucose, which is carbs, sugar, and ketones. Glucose is generated from carbs, sugar in the body, and require insulin to enter into the tissues, specifically cerebral tissue, the brain. Ketones are a byproduct, again, comes after metabolized or beta oxidation of body fat. So when your body is searching for energy through either starvation or nutritional ketosis, dietary restrictions, eliminating carbs and sugar from your diet, your body will access stored body fat to create energy via a fuel source called ketone bodies. Now, let's parallel that with exogenous ketones. This is something that has never been available to the human consumer market as of, maybe 3 or 4 months ago. And we were first. We were first to deliver this product. We were first to have a agreement with the University of South Florida that had to be approved so we could sell this product were first to include the level of raw materials. So there isn't a competitive product on the market. There may be other products that make claims. There may be other products that mirror what we're trying to do or what we are doing. But all you have to do is look at the label. All you have to do is compare the effects. And like I say, proof is in the pudding always. This product, Keto OS, can be proven 100% of the time and 100% of the people. So that's why I think it's important to clear up some of the misunderstanding, if there is any, about what this product does do and doesn't do. Number one, we need to think of ketones as a fuel source, not as a process. In other words, ketosis, we're going to use the definition as an elevated level of blood ketones. It's important to reach a therapeutic level, which is considered 0.5 millimolars or above. And we've worked really hard to create a formula that would deliver that benefit, again, with a single serving. So if ketones are a fuel source, when you take our product exogenously, it's partly true to say that this product burns body fat, but initially that is not the case. Let me explain. Ketones produced nutritionally or through starvation that are created by burning body fat, that's a net result. It came after body fat was burned. So ketones through nutritional ketosis existed after body fat was burned. Exogenous ketones that end up in the body existed not after body fat was burned. They existed after a scoop of powder was added to ice, water, shaken, and consumed by the customer. So I don't want there to be any misunderstanding that this product puts you into nutritional ketosis. It doesn't. Nutritional ketosis is a process that results in a fuel source called ketones. Our product, exogenous ketones, results from us putting this supplement into the body. So then the question is, well, how does this burn fat? How does this impact? First of all, it's worth noting, all of the research is not based on fat loss. It's not based on elevated energy levels. It's not based on increased levels of ATP per unit of oxygen versus glucose. It's not a weight loss product. All of those I would consider positive side effects. All of the research is focused on what do ketones do to cancer cells. In animal studies, cancer cells thrive on glucose and basically starve on ketones. In Alzheimer's patients, they don't require insulin to enter into the cerebral tissue. There's books, there's white papers, there's therapies prescribed to treat neurodegenerative disease. That's where all of the research is focused. So when we start talking about what our product does, start there. It doesn't make any difference what kind of diet you're on. It doesn't make any difference what type of program you're following. You're getting the benefit of an incredible fuel source that doesn't require an insulin response to enter into your tissues. And that's a powerful statement. That's a powerful benefit. I tell people, the research professors almost laugh because they suggest if we only knew what this was doing to our brains, you would never care if you lost an ounce of body fat or lost a pound of weight. They're that powerful and that beneficial. But what we don't know, we don't know, and what we do know is weight loss cells, fat loss, body recomposition, energy, all of those things are what consumers are looking for. We live in the now. And so, again, it's important to understand ketones are great. They're a powerful fuel source. They're a clean fuel source. I use the example of our cells acting as an automobile. The mitochondria inside each one of our cells is the engine, and the fuel, one of two sources, glucose or ketones, are what fuel that cell. They go into that engine, the mitochondria. And just like a car will do with the engine, there are emissions that pollute the environment. Glucose, the emissions are much greater and more damaging than emissions from ketones, which is a much cleaner fuel source. That and that alone is extremely important to understand. So we've just eliminated the idea of a ketogenic diet, an LCHF, low-carb, high-fat diet, any of that being necessary or required to get the benefit from our exogenous ketone product. I tell people, it doesn't matter how they get into your body. Ketones inside as a fuel source is a good thing. A little bit of ketones is good. A lot of ketones is better. And again, when someone brings up, when I say that, someone inevitably says, well, too many ketones can lead to ketoacidosis. That's a non-issue from anyone that has a working pancreas, number one. Number two, it's a non-issue for most any type 1 diabetic, type 2 diabetic that has their insulin under control. As a matter of fact, there is plenty of studies that suggest that ketones are very beneficial to diabetics as they help eliminate the culprit, carbohydrates. So if a little ketones is good, a lot's better. If ketones for 3, 4, 5 hours is good, which our product delivers at a therapeutic level, ketones 24 hours a day is better. So how do we increase the level of ketones in our body? There's two ways. You take our product up to 3 times a day, and or you follow a diet that allows your body to begin accessing your own body fat to create them endogenously. So if you could create ketones endogenously, add ketones exogenously, that is a strong, strong combination for success. Nevertheless, just getting ketones exogenously with no help from your body endogenously, creating them themselves, burning body fat, if your body's not doing that, you still have this clean-acting, burning fuel. You heard me say, okay, exogenous ketones, when they enter your body, they didn't burn body fat because ketones are a byproduct of burning body fat when it's done nutritionally. Ours, again, is a process of simply consuming a scoop of our product, a serving of our product with ice and water. So how does our product burn body fat? Here's how. It creates behaviors as a result of these positive side effects that leads towards body fat removal or burning body fat. Let me explain. The simplest way to describe the effect of our product, in my opinion, is when you consume our product, you will get 3 to 5 hours of great mental focus and energy. An energy that you've never experienced through a stimulant, an energy that you've never experienced as a whole, and I mean that literally, because ketones, as of a few months ago, were not available to you as a fuel source unless you produce them endogenously inside your body, which most of us never have our entire lives at a level that really made a difference for you to notice. So once we take exogenous ketones, even if we ate a plate of spaghetti, even if we had a bowl of oatmeal, even if we had a bunch of fruit and bread and pasta, whatever the case may be, we have a fuel source that is very much welcomed by the body. It's cleaner. It has side effects that include, again, 3 to 5 hours of incredible energy. I tell people that brain fog is lifted and you just feel a sense of clarity. You have 0 cravings and healthy, increased appetite control. Those 2 components alone are very powerful. But most importantly, our product, exogenous ketones in the body, create a muscle-sparing or protein-sparing effect. So if you think about it, if you take our product and you have 3 to 5 hours where there's no cravings, no hunger, great energy, muscle-sparing effect, because there's no calorie intake, versus the alternative, if you went 3, 4, 5 hours without our product, you would be hungry, you would have cravings, there would be a catabolic effect, which is the exact opposite of what we want. We don't want to compromise lean tissue, but with no food in our system, with no fuel going in, no calories going in, we have poor energy, cravings, no appetite control, and catabolic, just the opposite of a protein-sparing effect. So take that combination, 3, 4, 5 hours, protein-sparing effect, a calorie deficit. Now all of a sudden we're putting our body in a position to burn body fat. We don't have the extra calories. We're protecting our lean tissue. We have great energy, maybe to be more active. But even a sedentary person, if they do nothing else but eat less and protect and have a protein-sparing fuel in their body, they will see results. They start eliminating sugar, carbs. They will see increased movement in their biomarkers, blood sugars, in their body mass index, their BMI, from taking in less sugars and carbohydrates. They will see changes in cholesterol, triglycerides, et cetera, et cetera. We can tell you story after story, but we need to be very careful because the federal government, the Food and Drug Administration, the Federal Trade Commission don't allow us to make medical claims. It doesn't matter if they're true. It doesn't matter if they're factual. We just can't do it. So again, to recap, a very long answer to a very short question, what is the difference between ketosis exogenously with our product in 30 minutes versus ketosis nutritionally, creating ketones endogenously inside, is real simple. One is a result of burned body fat. The other is a result of consuming our product. The net result is the same. It's a fuel source that's very clean, preferred by your body, has incredible properties and positive side effects that will put you in a position to not only burn body fat, but to increase your health and biomarkers. So, hopefully that answers that question. Next question that I wanted to talk about was, what diet do I need to follow? You don't need to follow a diet. Again, I already covered the fact that you don't need to follow any diet to get the benefit of this powerful, magical, incredible fuel. All you have to do is research and see what this product does, what ketones do in the body, and that should sell you alone in of itself. The purpose and the reason you hear us talk about a LCHF diet or a modified ketogenic diet, LCHF standing for low carb, high fat, is because it's an alternative and a new conversation to what people are used to. When you've got an exogenous ketone product, It makes that high-fat, low-carb, or modified ketogenic diet, or even full-fledged ketogenic diet, more feasible, more possible, more realistic. And what does that do? That puts your body into a position to create ketones endogenously while experiencing and getting the benefits of ketones exogenously. I will tell you this, a very prominent figure in the realm of exogenous ketone research and development, who's been in ketosis steadily, nutritionally, for 2 to 3 years, uninterrupted, experienced our product, noticed an elevated level of ketones beyond what he was experiencing endogenously. So again, people that want to follow a different meal plan, a different diet plan that maybe fits their lifestyle a bit easier, that are tired of a shake for breakfast every morning, are tired of 5 to 6 small meals and the preparation and the shopping that goes into that, we're showing you an alternative that is now made possible because of the exogenous Keto OS ketone product. So just to recap that, you don't have to follow a diet of any shape or form to get the benefit of this product. The idea of following the ketogenic diet, LCHF diet, is again an opportunity for someone to experience something maybe better than what they've experienced in the past, to educate someone on the idea that fat is not bad. That's the biggest lie that's ever told, perhaps nutritionally, that cholesterol is not heightened by saturated fats. The idea of eating bacon and eggs, butter on your broccoli, NCT or coconut oil in your coffee or your favorite beverage. The idea of that and eliminating sugars, that's new and a new conversation for people. It's something that people want to try. Frankly, for me, it's something that's very doable because of my schedule being in the operating room every morning, perhaps for several hours without any food. I need a protein-sparing effect and a fuel that's going to sustain me with energy, no appetite, no craving issues, yet again, protecting my lean tissue. Next question. Does this make me lose body fat? Kind of already addressed that. Keto OS puts you in a position to make choices and a position to follow guidelines that will allow you to burn body fat much easier and much simpler than you have in the past. What should I expect? How will I know when I take this product? I think the easiest benchmark is this. Sample someone this product, have them mix it with cold ice and water, 20 ounces, shaker cup, not a blender. After consuming a large 16 to 20 ounce glass of water, they begin sipping this over the next 30 minutes. That's been a remedy for me that has worked for most people without any upset stomach, without any GI issues, and the experience is often indicated by, or what they can expect is, notice your energy level, realize that you aren't consuming food, so you're lowering your calorie intake, and tell me when you're hungry. Don't eat because you're used to eating. Eat because your body tells you it's hungry. Most people, almost all people that report back say, it was amazing. I wasn't hungry. I didn't have any cravings. I felt great. Usually when I don't eat, my energy levels dip. It was just the opposite. I had more focus, more energy. I was alert. I wanted to do something. I wanted to be more active. That's what I think people can expect from taking, again, just a single serving of this product. Another question that's often asked. I lost my spot. Why Should I take Keto OS as an athlete? Well, for athletes, I think there's no one better than Tony Freeman, who's become a great friend of the company. He's not a paid endorser, but I think we can all agree, and Tony's as transparent as they come, he's a top 10 bodybuilder in the world the last 10 years. That's an art. That's a science. That's somebody that has to be in tune with his body. I think the biggest indicator to validate what we say and the benefit of what this product delivers is, number one, increased ATP output per unit of oxygen. In other words, you heard me talk about that illustration of the cell being the car, the mitochondria being the engine, the fuel sources, glucose or ketones. When they enter into that engine, I tell people, let's say that increases the speed of that car, of that cell, the production, the energy output, the horsepower, the RPM. Well, more ATP, more RPM, more horsepower is generated inside that cell through the mitochondria when you utilize ketones as your fuel source than glucose. What does that mean to your workout? You can do the same workout with seemingly less exertion, less oxygen, less heavy breathing, et cetera, et cetera. I can't tell you how many athletes have tried this with an open, honest mind, being very mindful and aware of what to expect and what they should look for, that have had incredible experiences that have gone on to say, I won't train without it anymore. It's just a staple product. Number one, what is it? It provides more ATP, more horsepower, more RPM per unit of oxygen. So as the oxygen that's required in your workout, you're going to get more from it than if you were consuming glucose. We mentioned the muscle sparing effects. Tony suggests he's having better workouts as a 49-year-old than he did as a 39-year-old. He thinks his best is yet to come as a 50-year-old bodybuilder, and he'll compete next on the big stage in the Mr. Olympia in 2016, and he thinks that'll be his, kind of coming out party as he'll show people a physique that why? Because he's now operating on a different fuel source to fuel his workouts. So why would an athlete take this? Muscle sparing effects, more productivity, more energy, more ATP, more RPMs for their workout. Again, try it. Study the research. This isn't a placebo effect. How can we prove it? Take a blood test. Take a urine test. Whatever it is that helps you validate that we're delivering on our end. Next question I think is important. People will ask about the keto sticks. I think that's a brilliant marketing concept that's relevant 90% of the time. In other words, you utilize a ketones or a keto sticks strip prior to consuming the product, and then an hour later, 90% of the people, or 9 out of 10 people, will show a very increased concentration of ketones in their body. This is important to note. The ketone, and only ketone measured by keto sticks, is called acetoacetone. Beta-hydroxybutyrate, that 8.1 grams that's found in a single serving, is not measured by a keto stick. Beta-hydroxybutyrate, the 8.1 grams that's in our product in a single serving, is measured through a blood test, a more accurate and realistic test. So what does it mean for someone, or that 1 out of 10 people, that doesn't show an increased concentration in ketones? Number one, let's make sure we administer that test correctly. And without being, too graphic, you dip that stick in your screen. You don't hold it in your screen. You don't want to wash off or basically wash off the agents that are providing the test or the feedback. Number one. Number two, if you're someone that does show minimal change, believe it or not, this product is benefiting you more than someone who showed perhaps dark purple. And here's why. What is that keto stick measuring? It's measuring excess acetoacetone in your body, excess ketones. Ketones, this is important to note, cannot be stored as body fat. How are they released? Through your breath, which is acetone. That's when some people will experience, kind of a fruity breath, if you will. But more importantly, it's excreted. Ketones are excreted through your urine. So again, if somebody is not excreting a concentrated amount of ketones, where are they going? They're being utilized by the body. How do we know this? The more keto adapted you become, what does that mean? The more fat adapted you become. What does that mean? As you go from a glucose metabolism to your body relying on a ketone, or is primarily a ketone metabolism, meaning fat resulting in, or not fat, ketones as a primary fuel source over glucose, those people will rarely show any concentration of ketones in their urine. Why? Because as they become keto adapted over the course of time, their body is becoming more and more used to the ketones and can more effectively use the ketones in the body and doesn't have to excrete because there aren't as many excess ketones. So as you'll see over the course of time, your body will begin to utilize ketones more effectively. The more fat adapted you become, if you do this nutritionally, and or the more regular you are taking this product over the course of time as your body becomes used to getting this fuel source. Hopefully that clarified. So I don't want people to feel like this product isn't working, and maybe that sounds like a spin. It's really not. This product's working better for those people. As a matter of fact, to validate that, the people that don't show a high change or concentration, if you ask them, they will have greater results, it seems, in appetite control and energy. Why? Because they're using more of those ketones, the acetoacetone. What other questions? Let me think. Guys, I mean, there's so much we could talk about. I think it's so important to just take those questions right there. We're about 30 minutes in. And study them, learn them, think about them. I can tell you this. We're very proud to be a company that's transparent. We want to be as honest as the day is long. I don't think you get that a lot in this industry, or at least the perception is you don't. I think you should take great confidence in knowing that many or most of our frequently asked questions found at support.justpruvit.com come directly from research professors at the University of South Florida who helped develop and create this patent. So there is much to be learned. I was under the impression 6 months ago when we started to get this formulation and this taste correct that I take this and I'm in ketosis. Ketosis for the vast majority means you're burning body fat. Again, don't be discouraged that you're hearing this product doesn't burn body fat. This product still delivers the benefits of what that fuel source really means to your body. Again, appetite control, increased energy, and muscle-sparing effect over the course of 4 to 5 hours. That's a great formula for losing body fat, for dropping inches. That's why we tell people we're not a weight management. We're not a weight loss company. We're a fat loss. We're a body recomposition company. We want you to have more muscle, less fat, it kind of turns into this accelerating cycle. The more muscle you have, the more calories you can burn. The more calories you burn, the more fat you lose. The more fat you lose, the more muscle you develop. And it just becomes that ongoing cycle. So hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully it didn't confuse you. If it did, let us know, and we'll continue to get better at delivering this message. But I think it's important, again, for everybody to take this, understand it, realize what you have your hands on. You don't need to oversell this. You don't need to overstate this. You just need to let the product do what the product does and understand and realize this is very real. It's very new. Just like creatine, it'll be misunderstood. It will be controversial to some. But again, standing the test of time, we're the pioneers. We're the people that are creating a market that is first. We're educating a consumer base with a new conversation that's valid, that's real, and is supported by mountains and mountains of research. Last question is this, and I just thought of this. People will ask, what about the research? Do you have studies? Do you have studies on your product? Understand this. A true clinical study costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it takes time. We're a 3.5-month-old company. No, we don't have research on our product. But what we do have is what our product represents. And over a century of almost a century of research on what our product represents. Once our product is in your body, there is no telling any difference in the blood of our product being any different than what your body would produce naturally. So when people ask me, well, can I take it with this medication? Can I take it with that medication? We can't make medical claims. We can't play doctor. We have to give you the political answer of ask your doctor. The problem is Robert Washington, Gene Washington's father. He wasn't, his doctors didn't understand this. He went on the product anyways. And I think he said this past weekend, maybe it's 60 days that he's not given himself insulin after giving himself insulin every day for, I think he said 7 years as a type 2 diabetic. This is a man that's got his life back. If you understood what a type 2 diabetic not giving himself insulin for over 2 months really means, that's life-altering. So I always tell people, maybe this approach is worth gaining some confidence. Maybe ask your doctor, Doc, would it be okay if I began eliminating all sugars from my diet?